Debt has a bad reputation. Most people see it as a trap, something to avoid at all costs. But here's the truth. The rich love debt. Not the kind that keeps you broke like credit cards or car loans. No, they use smart debt, the kind that builds empires, funds billion-dollar companies, and lets them live in luxury without ever paying for it. While most people work to pay off debt, the rich use debt to make even more money. Let's break down the 6 ways they do it, and how you can start thinking like the wealthy. 1. The rich borrow to build empires. John D. Rockefeller wasn't born rich. He was a high school dropout from a poor farming family. But he understood something most people never do. Money makes money, if you know how to use it. So he borrowed just $1,000 from his father and started a small business. Within 2 years, he was making $17,000 in profits, a fortune back then. Instead of saving that money, he borrowed even more to buy out competitors and expand aggressively. He turned his company, Standard Oil, into an oil monopoly that controlled 90% of the US oil market. By the time he was 31, Rockefeller was a millionaire, and it all started with that first tiny loan. Lesson: the rich don't fear debt. They use it to scale their businesses fast. Instead of waiting to save up money, they borrow to buy income-producing assets and let those assets pay off the debt. How you can apply this? If you want to start a business, consider using low-interest loans or investor funding instead of waiting to save enough money. If you already have a business, use strategic debt to scale faster. Buy inventory, hire employees, or expand your reach. 2. The rich don't take salaries. They borrow money instead. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg all have one thing in common: they don't take a salary. So how do they live their billionaire lifestyles? Simple. They borrow against their assets. For example, Musk doesn't sell his Tesla stock to fund his life. Instead, he borrows against it, which gives him 2 huge advantages: no income tax. Loans aren't considered income, so he pays $0 in taxes on that money. No capital gains tax. If he sold Tesla stock, he'd owe billions in taxes. But borrowing? Totally tax-free. As long as Tesla stock keeps growing faster than the loan interest, Musk keeps getting richer while paying almost nothing to the government. Lesson: the rich don't earn money like regular people. They use debt as tax-free cash while their investments continue to grow. If you own stocks or real estate, consider taking a low-interest loan against them instead of selling them. 3. The rich buy real estate with other people's money. Most people struggle to pay off a single house mortgage. The rich, they buy multiple properties with debt, and they don't even live in them. Take Elon Musk again. In 2018, he borrowed $61 million to buy 5 mansions in California, even though he could have paid cash. Why? Leverage. He only put in a small amount of his own money, borrowing the rest to maximize profits. Tax-free rental income. Thanks to tax loopholes, he can earn rent money and pay little to no taxes. Wealth growth. Instead of tying up his cash in houses, he invests in businesses with much higher returns. Lesson: the rich don't use their own money to buy assets. They use the bank's money and let the assets pay for themselves. Instead of saving for a huge down payment, look into investment property loans where rental income covers your mortgage. 4. The rich keep their personal money safe. When Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion, he didn't spend his own money. Instead, he borrowed $13 billion to fund the deal. Why? Because if Twitter failed, he wouldn't lose his personal fortune. The lenders could only go after Twitter's assets, not Musk's Tesla stock or other investments. This strategy, called a leveraged buyout, LBO, is a billionaire's secret weapon. It allows them to buy businesses without risking their personal wealth, use the company's future profits to pay off the loan, keep their fortunes safe even if the business fails. Lesson: The rich separate their personal money from their businesses. That way, if a company fails, their wealth stays protected. Never personally guarantee a business loan. Use the business itself as collateral. Protect your assets by keeping business and personal finances separate. 5. The rich borrow to create liquidity without selling assets. Mukesh Ambani, the billionaire chairman of Reliance Industries, had a choice in 2023. Pay $5.5 billion in cash for India's 5G rollout, or borrow the money, even though he was worth $82 billion. What did he do? He borrowed. Instead of selling his properties or investments, he used debt to fund the 5G expansion, knowing the profits would more than cover the loan. This is how the rich think. Never sell valuable assets to fund new projects. Instead, use debt to create liquidity. Lesson: the rich borrow to invest in high-return opportunities, while most people borrow to spend on things that lose value. If you own property, consider using a home equity line of credit, HELOC, instead of selling. If you have investments, look into margin loans instead of withdrawing cash. 6. The rich let inflation pay off their debt. In 2012, Mark Zuckerberg took out a super low mortgage to buy his house, even though he was worth $15.6 billion. The interest rate? Just 1.05%. Why did he do it? Because he knew investing his money elsewhere would earn way more than 1.05%. Inflation would make his mortgage payments cheaper over time. Think about it. A $10,000 mortgage payment in 2012 felt like a lot of money, but by 2042, that same payment will be worth much less in real dollars, making it cheaper to pay off over time. Lesson: the rich borrow money cheap and invest it in high-return opportunities, while inflation eats away at the real cost of their debt. Lock in low-interest loans and let inflation reduce their cost. Avoid paying off ultra-low-interest debt early if you can invest that money elsewhere for a higher return. Debt isn't bad if you use it like the rich. Most people take on bad debt, credit cards, car loans, and high-interest mortgages that drain their bank accounts. But the rich take on good debt, loans that fund income-generating assets, minimize taxes, protect their personal wealth. So next time you think about debt, ask yourself, are you using it to get richer, or are you making the banks richer? Now, here's the real question. If you had access to unlimited debt at low interest rates, how would you use it? Drop your thoughts in the comments.